Hello.
I'm so sorry, Ananya, for the lateness. Is everything okay on your side?
Yeah, everything is okay on my side.
Okay. Okay. Can you share your homework with me, please?
Yes, I had trouble with the homework.
Okay. Mm. What is this issue with you?
Um, one moment, my screen share isn't working. I was able to do everything in the beginning, like
Hmm.
until the seventh thing that I was supposed to do. I tried the others, but I had to get help on them.
Can you take me through your code?
Yeah, so over here, what I did was I first initialized the real and the imaginary, and then
Hmm.
after that, this is my constructor, and so then we got the input of A and B because B is the imaginary part, and the A is the real part.
Hmm.
So we set A as real, and then B as imaginary,
Hmm.
and then this is our getter method, so the getting for the real one and getting for the imaginary part.
Okay.
And then over here, this is our setter method for real, so that we can like change anything that's inside. If we want to change, we have
Perfect.
this setter, and we also have the same thing for imaginary.
Okay.
And then over here,
Can you still hear me? Hello, hello, hello.
BI. So if the imaginary is less than 0, aka B, huh?
Okay, it seems that we are lagging here for some reason or another.
Can you
Hello,
hear me?
hello. Yes, I can hear you. Can you repeat why? So, can you tell me about the toString again, please? What is the purpose of the
Oh,
toString method here?
okay. What I did was I was trying to say like if less than 0, then it's supposed because like if the normal form is a plus bi, but if you had like a negative b, then the form should become a minus bi. So in case less than
Hello, Ananya. Ananya, can you hear me?
hello?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I
okay. Seems that
can you hear me?
yes, I can, but I still didn't hear much of your explanation of the toString, especially line 26, please. Can you repeat to me what you did here?
Okay, so for line 26, it's this one is only when b is negative. So when b is negative, it should become a minus bi. So the if part, it makes it into a minus bi. And
Mm-hmm.
then over here, what it does is it just returns a plus bi in case an imaginary number is greater than 0.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Then what else? Is
Okay,
real.
so this is
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so what it's doing here is it's checking if the imaginary number is equal to 0, then it returns true because if b was 0, then it would become just a, so then it would be actually a real number. But then
Okay.
otherwise it will just return false. And then basically the same logic for the other one. If the
Mm-hmm.
real is 0, it'll return true, that it is imaginary, otherwise just false.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here, I got confused. I had to ask for help. For this one, I understood it, the conjugate, and this one was just the formula, but I
What
was
about
having
adding
trouble
the complex?
understanding the multiply.
Multiply.
Yeah,
Haha.
I didn't really understand that one too. Can you help me, please?
Okay. So, but how did you write it then? You use help, I believe.
Yeah, I needed help.
Okay. So, so if we would like to add two imaginary numbers, so you take an input which is another complex number. So in the line 41, you are taking a parameter, but this parameter is an object in itself. So if we taking, okay, I think you didn't use did you actually use this? Which means that did you create objects out of this? Did you have a driver class? Do you understand what's the
No,
meaning
I
driver
didn't.
class?
I
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
didn't have a driver's class.
so a driver class, it means that you create two objects, for example, C1 and C2, and you initialize their constructor with values, and then you try to add C1 to C2, and that will call this method, which is here. So like I said, if I try to say, if I created C1, and this is an object, and C2, this is an object, and this is new, my complex, and I pass them 4 and 5, for example, and new, my complex 1 and 2, okay? And then I will try to say C1 dot add, and then I will pass it C2. So C2 in this case is actually at the end C2, it is an object, is it right? Can you hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
So C2 is an object which have a real and imaginary, right? So if I would like to add
Mm-hmm.
C2 to C1, I have to pass it as a parameter. And that is what is happening here. So C at the end is an object that contain two things, real and imaginary. And here is the real, and here is the imaginary,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you come here, you say, so this real belong to the current object which is C1.
Mm-hmm.
And this imaginary also belong to C1. And to add it to the real, to add it to the imaginary part of C2, so he used this part. To add it, to add
Wait,
that.
so this
Yeah.
so this one is the new object, and then this is what we have already.
Yes, this is what we have already in our current class. Every class got
Oh, so
imaginary
we're like
and real,
saving.
right? And the same will, so he need to add these two parts, and then he will actually print that out.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. So for
but
this one, what
okay. So the point here, when you add, actually you don't really need to print anything. Just you need to add these two, and then you're already saving the result in C1. If you use C1 in this way, you can also do C2 dot add C1. I mean, there is no, you can add anyone to the other. But when you do this, it means that your real here will belong to C2 and your imaginary belong to C2. And then your C here will be actually the C1. Okay. And then the
So
result
I
will be
don't
seen
need to
where?
print it because
You don't need to print it. You don't need, because yeah,
it's saved inside the object?
yes, exactly. It's
Okay.
already saved inside the object. Yes. Okay. So when we do the multiply, it is the same concept, which is I am passing. So it is as if you say C1 dot multiply C2. So you are passing another object of my complex here. And then this is the real of the current object, which is C1. And this is the real of C2 that you pass it here. So this is the operation that you are doing.
So the second part?
This is the second one here.
So the
Yes.
second part is the new thing that we passed.
Yes. The input, the parameter, the real of the parameter or the input, the
Oh,
input to
okay,
the
the
method.
real of it. Okay.
And this is the imaginary of the input. And the same goes here.
Okay.
Okay, and also multiply, also it is not required here, except that, okay, so what you did here, the thing is, you already multiply, but after you multiply, you need to assign, I mean, this is correct, fine, but then you have to say, I mean, we didn't take this yet, so I don't know, I need to write it here, we will take it today. So you can say real equal new real. So you don't need to print, but you need to add these two lines. So why? Same like this
How come
concept.
I didn't
And you need
how
to
come I
say,
didn't need to add that over here?
because you do it already and you assign it directly to the vet. I mean, you see here, you did this operation, and after you did it here, you actually add it to the real of the current method, which is this. But when you did it with the multiply, you created a new variable called new real. And this new real, after the multiply method finish, it will disappear from the memory. This is how to say, it is a variable that is temporary. But the real that we are using in the class will not disappear. You did that here in the add, which is fine, but you didn't do that here. I mean, what you did here is correct, but you are missing this line, which means that after, instead of printing out, we need to add another two lines, which is imaginary equal new imaginary. And these two lines should be added instead of the print, which means that the multiplication, I mean, if you end up the way that you are ending now, you multiply and you print, but at the end, the C1 is not affected. The values of the real and the imaginary of C1 does not really reflect the multiplication process. Because why? Because you already do the multiplication, but you save it to a variable, and this variable is temporary. Once the method close, the scope of this variable will disappear from the memory once you come here. Did you understand me? Or
Except for this one, the real and imaginary, it
belong,
goes back and
exactly, it belong back to the class, so it will remain as long as the class is still in the memory and you did not delete it or end the program. Then the new and the imaginary and the real will remain. So yeah, that
so
is,
if I had called this real, then would I have
yes, you
what if
can
I
do
just
that.
called this real? Then I wouldn't have had to do that.
Yes, exactly, exactly, yes,
Then I wouldn't have to do the new thing.
exactly, you don't have to do that.
It's only because otherwise it'll just go away. Wait,
Yes.
but then I'm still a little bit confused about this add thing.
Okay, tell me
So if I
please.
have this real and if I have this real and imaginary, so that's the new thing that I created, and we have real and imaginary. So like how I don't understand how it'll print out the answer now.
Can you highlight again to me which part you are adding, talking about the add, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how are you going to print? Sorry, again, can you tell me again what you're talking about here? So now, okay,
Like,
can I understand from you? Okay, did you ever see something like this?
mhm,
If we say count,
yeah.
okay, so what we are doing here, I mean, we are declaring and assigning one to the count variable. Am I right? And then we saying here
Mm-hmm.
whatever count have, add one to it, and the result assign it back to count. So I am replacing the current value of count
Mm-hmm.
by the new value. Am I right? So if we try to print count here, what is the value that going to be printed? Is it 2 or 1? So at
Two.
1, okay, why? Because this line have a result, and the result replace the old value that is stored in the count. Am I right?
Yeah, so this will just print out real and imaginary separately, like it won't print it out in A plus BI form.
Yes, but I mean the add in your case does not have any print statement. If you call toString, yes, it will print something. So if you call toString, it will, I mean, okay. So after you updated the value of the real and the imaginary, and if you try to call toString, what it will do, it will print out or return the updated value of the real and the imaginary. The updated after what? After the addition that you've done here. So now, where is your confusion exactly? The confusion is that you don't imagine that the real variable will contain a new value. Is that what is complicated?
No,
So which
no, I'm
part?
just like, what will it print out? Like, will it print out the real and imaginary number separately? It won't, like, it will not print it in A plus BI form.
No, wait. The add itself does not have any printing. The add update my real and imaginary variable. But if I call toString, it will start to
Oh.
print something out. I mean, the add itself does not print anything. It doesn't return anything. It just updates my internal variable of the class only. Okay, so,
Oh, okay, I get it now.
but, okay, so I think the best way to do that is to um, make a void main, please, and make two objects C1 and C2, and try to call C1 dot add C2, and then print out C1. Do you know how to do that?
One moment, I'm making the main. Sorry, what did you say?
Okay, so you make a void main like this, and you create two objects, C1 and C2.
I made it.
Okay, perfect. Can you call the add, please? Okay, can you print C2 then?
I put C2.
No, print,
Oh, okay.
print. Yep.
Wait, do I use the toString method yet?
Do you use what? Sorry? No, you don't.
ToString method?
Um, can you try to make two prints, and one include dot toString and one doesn't include toString?
Okay. Oh, it says required no arguments. I should add an argument here, right?
Let me check, please. Uh-huh. So when we called toString, it is a method. How do you add dot add? So you look here.
Oh,
No. So the toString actually does not need you to call. Yes, but you are what you are doing is correct, but you don't need to pass. ToString does not take any parameters. If you look at the ToString definition in
oh,
your
oops.
class, it doesn't take any parameters. So you call c2.toString. Okay. Can you run now and tell
Okay.
me what is the result?
Mhm.
Mhm. So something is being printed out, am I right? But it is 0, 0.
Yeah, yeah,
That is a bit strange. Am I right?
yeah.
Why?
I'm trying to see why. So we have C1 and we're adding C2 to it. And
Yes.
you're not printing anything in add, right? I don't think. Yeah, you're not printing anything there, so this isn't printing. And
Yes,
then
correct.
system.out.print and then C2.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure this prints the address, like it doesn't print out where, like what it actually is. So it's probably this one. And then in the dot to string, what's happening?
Can you go to the constructor? Let me confirm again that everything is fine inside the constructor. Mhm. Okay, so inside the add process, can we add inside the add process? Wait, wait, wait. No, again, take me to the constructor, please. Wow. Okay, there is an error in the constructor, please.
What is it?
Can you do a print statement inside the constructor and print out the values of the real and the imaginary inside the constructor? But I would prefer that you add here the plus, comma, like this. Okay, run then.
Do I ever knew my complex?
Yeah, yeah. But then you have to, I think no, because no, if you do it this way,
Oh yeah, this is what happens. Oh, it gives 0, 0.
no. So okay. Yes, it gives 0, 0, but just run the typical method. I would like you to see. Okay. Um, can you add here in constructor? Okay. Yes, perfect. And run, please.
What's
So
it doing?
okay. So why are we getting zeros here? So it means that after you do the assignment and passing 4 and 5 as an input here, Your real, it's an imaginary. Inside the constructor itself is 0, 0. So you did a fatal mistake here. The fatal mistake is saying that you are trying to get the real value here, and you are assigning it to A. A is your input. You should be doing the opposite, which means that the real
Oh.
this is the reason that I asked you to print something inside the constructor to be able to see.
Okay, now it works.
Okay, so it means now, okay, inside the constructor, we confirmed that the real and imaginary is according to what we passed. And then when you added something, suppose it worked. I assuming that it worked. Okay, so, but can I know something here? What is being printed out here? Can we know what is being printed out? Is that the result of the addition or no?
No, I think that's the result of the toString.
So this is the result
C2
of
is 4,
C2.
3. Yeah. Oh, I thought that prints out the address.
No, it doesn't print out the address. Why it doesn't print out the address? Because you created inside your class the toString. If you, okay, so let me remind
Okay.
you, Here, if you defined a method called toString inside your class, he will not print that C2 address. He will go to call automatically the toString. Because why? He is expecting here a string to be returned out. So automatically Java will call the toString automatically for you. So you can omit C instead of putting C2 dot to string like this, you can omit this part. Why? Because this is known to Java. This is a method that is already inside Java itself. That's why when you overwrite it with the toString, he followed what you did. If not, he do the default, which is printing the address. So this only can happen with the toString. Now, so at the moment you added whatever in C2 to C1, but so, and the result is saved where is inside C1. So if you remember, inside the add method, we are taking a parameter, which is my complex C. This is what you write inside your add method. This my complex C, in this case, it is C2. And you are adding the real and the imaginary of C2 to C1. And you're saving the result where? Inside C1 real and imaginary. But you are printing here what? You're printing here C2. So if you would like to see the result of the addition, you should put here C1 or C2. You are confused.
A little bit.
Okay. 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 We go to my complex. Okay, so let me do something. Go to get real and get imaginary and add a print statement to them. Add a print statement saying, no, not after the return. After the return, nothing will be printed out. Before the return.
Oh, yeah.
So print out the value of the real before here, saying real and do the same in the imaginary, saying imaginary.
Do I run it?
Yes, please. Okay, so inside the addition, we try to call get real and get imaginary. Okay, so can you point out this is C1, am I right? And this is C2,
Mm-hmm.
am I right? Okay, so C1 contain 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But what I'm printing here, so your command say C1 dot add C2. So your parameter, your input is C2. So he called what here? This belong to which object? C1 or C2? We added 2 lines of printing
C2.
out. This belong to C2, okay, right? Why? Because
Mm-hmm.
inside the add, if you go to the add, please. Your add method. Where is your add method?
Oh,
Perfect, here. So inside your add method, you called get real and get imaginary one time. But you call it
mm-hmm.
using what? You call it using your input. And your input here is C. So you put here C and C. But if you pass here the object C2, I know the concept is complex, but so I wanted to prove to you, when you called get real, it show you the real of C2. Why? Because you pass it here as an input. Okay, let me give you another proof. So go again here in the main and do a single change. Okay, say change this to become C2 and this to become C1. And then run again, please. Okay, now look, where is our C1? This is our C1. This is our C2. Am I right? So which real and
Mm-hmm.
imaginary got printed out? It is
C1.
for C1 and for C2. I mean, sorry, both belong to C1 here, not C2 at all. Am I right? Why?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because, and we know that this will only get printed when I call get real, right? So the get real is called on C1. Why? Because in the add here, I added C1, not instead of C2. So it means that when I call C2 dot add C1, C1 become my input. It is an object. C1 at the end is an object. And this object contain 2 values inside it, real and imaginary. And so I use the C to call get real. So it go to the method get real and print it out these values. And it call get imaginary and print it out the imaginary value. Okay, if you are still confused, I can also have another trick to explain it to you. Do you allow me to show you the trick?
Yes, please.
Okay, go to get real method, please. Okay, we
Can I
can,
just repeat what I understood so far?
yes, please, of course, yes.
So for get real, like the reason why it's printing out C1 here is because that's like the first method, the first object that we have. So that's why it's printing those. And then what did we change? Like we changed something. Um and we changed something and then that's why it's actually printing out the sum of both of them now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it is not because, I mean, we are printing not because this is the first object that you passed, but actually it is because of another reason. So can you pass here a string name, a string and call it name? Okay. And okay, can you come here before the real? Call it name plus real and leave a space here. And do the same here. So copy this and okay, very good. And go down, please. Okay, where is your add method?
Here.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, so there is an error. Okay, now can you change this C? Call it other, please. And change, because now we changed the name of this, call this other and this other. Okay, good. And then there is still an error. So I would like to differentiate something. So we know that this get real is for the other, right? So I would like to say here,
yeah.
pass it a string and call other is the input object. Write this
Is
in a double quotation inside the brackets here.
okay.
Okay, do the same, please, with also the imaginary. Copy the same statement. Okay, can you start to run, please? But it will show
It
you an
won't
error.
let me run because
Let me see.
it just won't let me run because there's I'll
Errors.
just comment out everything underneath.
Yes, exactly. No,
Wait,
you
which
can't.
bracket do I use?
So okay. I would like you to comment anything after the add. Yes, perfect. Yes, correct. So asterisk slash like this here, and you start after the add. So this is the asterisk.
Oh, okay.
Does it allow you to run now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is being printed out here?
So we're printing okay, so what are we printing? We are printing first, we are printing the in constructor thing. So
Mm-hmm.
what's inside the constructor, we're printing that for
Mm-hmm.
the first object and for the second object. And then we are going to the add because the next thing that we're doing. Okay, yeah, the next thing we're doing is adding. So where's the add? Yeah, here. So we're printing here is because get real, whatever you put inside, it'll return that. So we're printing the real number of the object, the current object, and the object that was given in the parameter. Their real numbers added together.
So it means that this get real is for the other. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not for
Yeah.
the it's not for this is C1, this is C2. So in C2, we call it other, and the other print out C1, the real and the imaginary. Do you notice that? Or
Like they're separate. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, I do notice that now. Okay. Oh, it's printing out the. Okay, why is it specifically printing out other though? Why isn't it?
Printing out,
Oh, it's because.
okay, because
Oh,
it
it's because
depends.
we called that.
Yes, you call that, and not only you call it, you if you look here, so you are printing out whatever you pass as an input. So now you are passing C1 as an input. That's why the real of the C1 is the one being printed out. If you pass here instead of C1, you put C2, then the one that is going to be printed out here, it will be the real and the imaginary of C2. So, okay, I know that this is not easy, but I would like you to repeat what you understood so far and tell me where is still the confusion.
Okay, so what I understood, like I feel like I understand it, but okay, so the what we're doing is we're printing other here. We're like an add, we're doing other dot get real, and then we're passing like in here we're pat C2 dot add, and add is the C2, no, C1 is the other. So basically what we're saying here is like C1 dot get real, other is the input object, and C1 dot get image is the and then we're printing other is the input object. And it's printing 1 and 2 since we said C1, and C1 is 1 and 2. So that's why it's looking at the real and imaginary number of of the object C1.
Yes, correct. I know that it's a bit confusing because this is the first time ever that we pass an object as an input to the class. We never do that before. Every time we are
Yeah, and
passing
it's printing
integer,
it too.
yes, and it's printing it too, exactly. But it doesn't tell you
Wait,
that
can you
this is
just
C1.
explain it?
Can you tell me again, please?
Oh, the reason why it's printing it is because so we're saying dot get real, and when in get real, we're returning real. So that's why it's printing out the real of that.
Yes, but it is not
There's so
calling
many
the get
things like
real
that at
of the
work there.
current class. It is not calling the get real of this C1. I mean, this, so in
Oh,
this
it's
case,
calling the get real of
of the
C2
other one, which
technically.
the other, that's why I call it other here. So it depends. If you say C2 dot add C1, he will use the C1 object. So again, C1, C2, and C1 is both have its own real and imaginary, right? So I need a way to differentiate. I mean, I'm able to access the real and the imaginary of C2. Why? Because I'm using C2 to call add. If I'm using C2 to call add, it means that the real here and the imaginary here belong to C2. So, but because of I am passing this as an
It's
input,
because
I have to use get real because I can't access this C1 real and imaginary alone like this. I need to call their get real and get imaginary. That is the only thing that is confusing here. Okay, now tell me what you understood,
I
please.
get it, I get.
Okay,
Okay, well, so the reason why other is C1. So that's why we're basically calling C1 dot get real here. And
exactly.
then
Yes,
real is what yeah, C2 in this case.
yes, yes. So again, the method that is, I mean, the object that you're using to call doesn't have to call it its get real. The one that is passing as an input is the one that you need to call their get real. That is the difference between these two.
Yeah, and then get real is returning the real
The
number. So
real.
that's why when
Exactly.
we're saying it, it's printing out that number.
Yes, correct. So now let us try to, okay. And at the end, it's adding something. And if we use Okay. Can you go to the print statement, please, if you don't mind?
In main?
Yes. So you are printing here C2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is giving you 5 and 5. Am I right? Because you added the real.
No,
And why? You
I
added
think
the...
toString is giving me 5, 5.
No, no, toString is not printing anything to you. Okay, you want your okay. Can we differentiate? Can you
Oh,
change
wait.
this to
It's
C1? Now run and see.
Wait, so who's printing 5, 5 then?
This line, this line. Okay, so do you see here? Here we're printing C2, here we're printing C1. But what
Mm-hmm.
appears to you, okay, you want
Oh, it's
it,
nothing because I'm not printing it because it's returning.
yes, it is returning, exactly. That is what I wanted to tell you. The toString only
Wait, but
return a string, but it doesn't print. But because you put here
why is
C2,
it adding both of them?
why is
Mm-hmm.
it adding both? Because of the add method. Because of this add.
Oh.
So if you come here
Oh,
and you
because now you added C1 to it. So now C2 is a different thing. It
is
has a
different.
new value,
Exactly.
like the count example.
Exactly. You
Oh, okay.
managed to nail it. So if you make another print statement for C1, then you will realize that C1 never change. C1 at the end never change. Make a print statement for C1, please.
Okay.
Okay, now print it out.
Oh,
So
because C1 never changed. Only C2
yes,
changed.
yes,
If I'd like
exactly.
changed this to C1 or and then C1, then it would print something different for a C1.
Yes, exactly. So you
Okay,
see,
I get it now.
really? Wow. Okay, that's really good
Mhm.
progress. Okay, now let us look at the multiply, please.
Okay. I think it's the same
It's
logic
the
for
same
this one. So
concept.
I don't
Exactly. Yes, exactly the same concept. Yes.
It's just the formula that I need to like get right, but I need to do real and imaginary together. And then for whatever I'm getting an input of, that one I'm doing dot get imaginary because wait, is this? Oh, actually, I don't know. I don't know the formula, but I think I'd understand it if I knew the formula.
Okay. Allow me to show you one thing. So actually, we should explain
Okay,
this during the slides. So let me go through the slides and then I will try to clarify this. Okay. So we let us stop here.
okay, do I
And
stop share?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay. So let me try to. Okay. So actually, did you study the using of something called this? I know that you use it in your code. So look at here. Did we
Yeah, I
ever?
did. I learned it in school.
Okay, so you know understand what the meaning is this, right? It refers to what?
I actually don't know what exactly it means. I just know that it's used in like setter methods.
Okay. So uh, do you know the difference? I mean, we made the mistake a while ago. So you see here that my attributes or my inner class variables here. instance variables, X and Y, I am assigning to them the parameters. Am I right? I call it init X and init Y. We know that these two parameters will be only existing as long as we didn't finish here. But the one that will really exist after the constructor is called is X and Y. Am I right? So this is the scope of X and Y.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So we use this to actually refer to the current class. So, okay. Now, if I would like to print the information, so this is a student class, and I'm making S1 and S2, two objects out of the student class. The student class have two attributes, which is name and ID. And then I'm printing the name and ID that is instance variables of the student class. So when I refer to the name of a specific object, I need to always use this. So when you say S1 dot print info, it means that I am printing the name of S1. So when you say I am printing the name of S1, it is using this. So this looks which object that you are using to call the method. It is S1. So am I able to call S1.printinfo and S2.printinfo? Yes, you can. And you can use any object that you create to call the print info. But how can Java recognize the name? Because, okay, this have a name and ID. Name and ID. And S2 also have name and ID. Okay, so how can Java differentiate between the name and ID of S1 and the name of and ID of S2? By using this with every one of those. So when you call S1.printinfo, then the Java looks which object that you are calling, it is S1. So I say I need to call this name of S1. And then when you use S2, I need to call this name of S2. So this is what is referred to this. So it is referring to the current object that you are using to call the method. So in using this method or this this concept in calling, it's a way to differentiate between different variables of different objects. We can create up to maybe million students. In a country, maybe we'll end up having 1 million or 2 million or even 3 million students. So how can each one of them have an ID and a name? How can we differentiate between 1 million name and 1 million ID? By using this concept. And this is apparent if you look at something like this. So in a point class, if you use your parameter and you do not name it as different names, so here I'm having X and Y as my instance variables for the class point. They are private. But in the constructor, I happen to use also X and Y as an input. So which X is which X? This, if I say X equal X, does this make any sense to you or it's a bit confusing? So you do not know now which X is assigning to which X. So that's why in this case, we can say this dot X and this dot Y is going to assign the input X to, when I say this X, it means that it's referring to my X. When I say this Y, it is referring to the instance variable of the class. So this is used only inside the class, not outside. And it is used with the methods of the class, and it is used with the variables of the class. So I can't use this with X here as an that comes as an input. I can't use this with a Y that come as a parameter or input. I can only use it with my X and Y. So what we can do or use in the case of student, so in the case of student, we have name and ID. So I can use this with the name. I can use also this with the ID. Why? Because this can be only used to reference the instance variables of the class, the name and the ID. Here we are creating two, so we're only able to use this with name and ID. Does it make sense or still confusing? Because it confuses us.
It makes sense. It's like a way to differentiate.
Yes, yes, exactly. And this is what confused us just now when we was writing my complex. Inside the add, we have two things. We have inside my complex add, I am taking C or we call it other, right? Inside other, actually, I said real equal real plus other dot get real. I am not sure which one is which one, but if I say this real dot real and this dot real, I will know that I'm referring to this real actually belong to the current class, and the other dot get real belong to something else, not the other. So other, we don't use this with it. We only use this with the current instance variable of the current class. So I hope this a bit clarifies the thing. Can you tell me what you understood so far, or?
So like this is like when you use the this keyword, it tells the program that it belongs to the class, the current class. But then when you don't use it, it tells it that it's not the one that belongs to the current class, so that it like prevents like confusions. Like if you have a constructor and in it you have int x and int y, and you also have like private int like int x and private int y in the class, then when you can like say this dot x is equal to the x that was the input from the constructor.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, that is so far very good. Okay, now look at this place and tell me how many constructors we have here.
We have two.
Okay, but one is taking no inputs, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not taking any input, why I'm calling this? And what does it mean? Any idea?
Is it calling a method?
It is calling a method. So this, when you pass it two zeros, you are referring to calling the constructor that takes two inputs. This constructor does not take any input. So if it doesn't take any input, I can easily assume that I can put zeros for X and Y. So once you call the constructor that takes no input, it means that you have no specific value for X and Y. He would like to assign zeros here. So it means that it makes it easy for the user not to call this and pass it zeros. So if he called the default constructor without any input, automatically inside it, you call the constructor and pass it X and Y as zeros, which means that it will assign the instance X and instance Y with zeros and zeros. So this, in this shape, in this way, it calls the other constructor. So it means that we are learning a new concept that we are able to call one constructor from another. So initially, when you say point P1 equal new point, no input here, okay? You are going to call which constructor? I'm going to call this constructor. Okay, and then I create another object P2. This is point 2. This new point, take 3 and 4. It means that I'm calling this constructor and it takes X and Y and it will assign the X to a value and the Y to a value, which is 3 and 4. In this case, once I call this constructor, it will pass zeros to the X and Y. And the next coming slides will actually also build on this understanding. Did you understand this point here? That I'm able to call another constructor?
Yeah.
Really? Can you write it down, please? Can you write down this?
Hmm.
And make a driver class and create point 1 and point 2. And after you write these two constructors, come here and
Okay.
make a print statement. Constructor 2 is called.
I printed it.
Okay, so you printed it. Did you run, please? Did you create 2
Yeah.
points, point 1 and point 2?
It just says constructor 2 is called and constructor 2 is called.
So it show this print statement or this statement printed 2 times. Can you tell me why it's printed 2 times?
Because we have, because we're printing both the constructors.
I mean, yes, but why it's printed 2 times? I am calling in this case, I am calling the constructor this one. And in this case, I'm calling the second constructor. But why this is printed 2 times?
Because you're saying you're calling the other constructor using the this word, and
Yes,
then you're
correct.
reusing the code, so therefore it's printing it again.
Yes, correct. Yes, this is what I wanted to reach. Yes. So we will stop here in this class and we will continue next class. Thank you so much. Take care.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.